Hey y'all, I'm back with another memo today, and that is words are spells. Words are spells. Now, I want to clarify, I don't mean that words specifically create the conditions that we exist within. No, but they do, in a sense, connect ideas, and they can reaffirm certain lines or levels of thinking, right? So for example, if you talk about yourself in a positive light, or you talk about someone else in a positive light, right? You are connecting this positivity to your image of them. In the same way that if you speak about someone or yourself in a negative light, you are connecting this negative energy to the way that you speak about them. And I think that's something that's really been lost in our liberation movements, especially when we think about the theory behind them and the ways that a lot of academics speak about, the context and the conditions of the world around us. One term that drives me crazy is the term white supremacy. Yes, I understand what you are saying with that term, but we need to be more critical and think about what that does on an energetic level, right? White supremacy connects the ideas of whiteness with being supreme. And I understand that within the racial hierarchy and caste system that we operate within, whiteness is regarded as supreme. But if we're talking about liberation, if we're talking about a future where that is not the case, where race does not determine someone's position in life, and where we have overcome and surpassed many of the racial violences that of our history and of our present, right? We need to move away from this idea of talking about white supremacy. I prefer to talk about a racial caste system. I prefer to talk about a racial hierarchy that privileges whiteness, right? I use language in a more intentional way so that I'm not giving lip service to the lies of the oppressor, right? We know that whiteness is not supreme. We know that that is a lie, that is a fallacy that so many of the systems of inequity and violence and oppression of this world exist on. So how can we use language in a way that does not continue to affirm or connect those ideas, that does not continue to perpetuate that lie? Does that make sense, right? White supremacy is a lie. So why would we call it that when it's more accurately termed a racial hierarchy, a racial caste system? You can even say a white racial hierarchy. That's what I use. But that's my memo for today. Words are spells. They don't create the conditions, but they definitely connect ideas, and we need to think very critically about the language that we want to use moving forward and the work that we want our language to do for us.